Hey guys, welcome back to the third podcast of JPL. I'm Mel Bells.
I'm Pransolo.
I'm Princess.
Dan Can.
And today we're going to be talking about Animal Farm by George Orwell.
So guys, how did you feel about the book?
Throughout reading the novel, I didn't enjoy reading the book because there was no connection for me while reading. Since the setting took place in the times of the Soviet Union, I had no relation to what was happening in each scene. Overall, the book wasn't too bad, but I felt if we read another book, it would have been a better read. For me, the book was really small, and the turning points and events were too predictable. So, Melbells, do you recommend the book?
I would actually recommend this book because it's mainly portrayed from the Russian Revolution, and from it, the events are very consistent, and it would continue bringing up a lot of problems. And the thing is, the connection between the animals, which are the main characters, are basically the counterparts of the Russian revolutions who were in it. And I would really recommend this book for those who didn't quite understand the Russian Revolution history, but if you were to read this book, you would understand how it started and ended. So, Pransolos, what did you think what was the main events of the book?
Well, to summarize the main events, it basically started off as a drunken Mr. Jones carelessly fell asleep after not taking care of his animals. Old Major came to save the day as he boosted the morale of other animals, saying that they should not be ruled by men. But sadly, Old Major died a couple days later. But the inspiration he gave, the farm animals drove Mr. Jones, his wife, and his friends off the farm. Then they established rules and laws and a new name for the farm, known as Animal Farm. Two pigs named Napoleon and Snowball fought for supremacy, but after an encounter with man, Snowball ran away, leaving Napoleon in charge. As the power-greedy Napoleon takes charge, he began to capture the attributes of man and ends up ruining what Animal Farm was truly supposed to be. And towards the end of the story, you can see Napoleon behaving, talking, and becoming man. If there was a sequel for this book, Malbells, what do you think the main plot would be?
So I think the sequel would be, like, at the end of the chapter, Napoleon and his form of pig army, they basically become two-legged human beings, and they basically reunite with Mr. Pilkington, who is a human being. So because it's connected to the Russian Revolution, I think the sequel would be about Napoleon and Mr. Pilkington taking over the other lands, other farms, to become high rulers. And seeing that, the sequel would be really bad for the other farm animals on Animal Farm. But because it's connected to the Russian Revolution, it would basically lead to World War II. And the sequel would mainly be about a new war.
So, Dancan, if you could be a character in the book, which one would you be?
If I could be a character, I would be the Old Major. He was a character who influenced the other animals, and he sparked the start of the animal revolution. Even though he died, he left a mark on the society and changed the view of the animals. If I could change something, it would be that Old Major was living, so maybe he could have bettered the revolution. Yeah.
So, Malbells, what do you think a collective human experience would be?
So for human experience, it could be related to other communist countries. For instance, North Korea. North Korea is a totalitarian society. In this society in North Korea, everything of all the people are manipulated by the North Korean leader. Because of this, it's quite relatable to Napoleon of the book, who is a counterpart of Stalin. The usage of propaganda, which manipulates everyone in North Korea, is basically connected to how the book is emphasizing deception. And that is, deception can basically remove everyone's mind of how the world actually is, and people would only follow one leader, and that would be the North Korean leader. In North Korea, and to it, it's connected to Animal Farm of deception. Brainwashing, using the fear to manipulate people and control it, is also within other communist countries. One leader would choose whatever they want to basically control everyone, and that's quite relatable to how society is. In some countries, everyone is manipulated by some kind of leader and would only trust that person instead of using their head to understand what is going on around them. All propaganda and other aspects of a city that provides images or some communication that emphasize a usage of how a country is portrayed as bad or anything. It's basically on deception and how society can basically be controlled easily by fear, violence, and other usage of scaring other people.
So, Princess, if you could ask the author a couple questions right now, what would they be?
A few questions I would ask the author is, why did you decide to use animals as an analogy for the Russian Revolution? Second question is there any specific reason why certain animals represented different leaders or causes? And why did you decide to kill off Old Major?
So, Princess, what do you think the message of Animal Farm is?
I think that the message of the book is power and how Napoleon used violence to rule. Animal Farm shows us how citizens should question what the government decisions are, especially when it affects us. Because Napoleon was a dictator and he yearned for power, he basically ruled with fear, violence, and blackmail. And when the citizens didn't know how to react, that's how he gained his power.
Okay, thank you guys so much for listening in today, and I hope you can comment down below on how you felt about the podcast or anything you would like to say. And thank you for tuning in, and hope to see you next time. Signing off is Prawn Solo,
Mel Bells,
Princess,
Dan.
P.S. We don't like tros. Hey guys, welcome back to the third podcast of JPL. I'm Mel Bells.
I'm Prawn Solo.